During the war, it was a 100% war effort. Everybody was involved. Anybody that was old enough to speak or walk, was involved somehow. You collected cans, you collected papers, you collected tinfoil, you collected everything, anything you could that would help towards the war effort. In school, we would, work for odd jobs and take our little allowance or whatever it was, and we'd buy stamps to put in our book to buy a war bond. We got the book filled with stamps, and we had a war bond that we would trade. So everybody contributed money to the effort, and scrap metal drives and paper drives and precious metal drives and Lord, everything. And on top of that, most commodities, at least the ones you liked, were rationed, so you couldn't get them. I remember it was still during the war, near the end, but still during the war, that my dad had suppliers used to come into his business, and that sold him things, and one of them one day walked in and gave him a box of bubble gum. And it was a box with 100 pieces of double bubble gum in there. And oh, I was king of the world for a couple of weeks there, because for favors given, I would pass them out to my friends. and none of us had had bubble gum for years, because apparently the gum base was used in the war effort for something else. I never knew why. I just knew you couldn't get bubble gum. But so everything during the war was dedicated to the war effort. After the war, everybody tried to go back to normal. The boys came home from the war and put down their weapons and their war suits and went to work. The women who had been working in factories during the war went back to home and being homemakers, and glad to do it. School became a little more normal, if you will. We weren't worried about the war effort all the time. People were buying houses, and people were buying automobiles, and which they had never done before, really, to the degree that they were now. Tracts of homes were being built, and on farmland. It was just, cities were expanding, and everything was growing and going. Because we were still coming off the recession when we walked into World War II. And I've always thought it odd that we're a peace-loving nation, but we only thrive during wartime, economically. There's something wrong there. But World War II straightened out our economic problems, and for a lot of years thereafter, we were, riding the crest of a big wave. It was good times, and a lot of growth.